Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to the exceedingly beautiful Sri Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Mandir, Sri Vrindavan. Shri Gurudeva ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Paraga ki jai. Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Radha Ramana Ju ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari
Boro. Dandavat Pranam, beautiful Vaishnavas. Swagatam, Swagatam, Swagatam. Welcome. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So we will begin with Mangalacarana. Mangalacarana is the auspicious invocation, calling for the grace, the presence, the mercy, the sidelong glances of our beloved Srila Gurudeva, of our beloved Srila Prabhupada, of our Rupananda Gauriya Guru Varga, of Patit Pavan Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Prem Purushottam Sachinandan Gaura Hari, going all the way back to the original Guru who is Krishna himself, and his Guru of Prem, Vrishabhanandari Srimati Radha Thakurani, as Krishna states, and you can find it in Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Sudevi, Radhikar Prema Guru,
Ami Shishyanata.
Ami Shishyanata. Radhika is my Guru of Prema and I'm simply her dancing pupil. She makes me dance various novel dances according to her tune. So calling on all of these divine and transcendental personalities for their grace and their mercy, we will recite Sri Mangalacharan, which you can find in this beautiful bhajan treasure trove, Sri Gaudiya Giti Gucha, starting on page 1 with Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam. If you do not have this, we have Jiva Pavana Prabhu, who I believe is not going to be able to be with us at this time. He's at getting some tests done. So he requested that anyone can take his place for now. And we also have Anjali, who posts the page number and also the downloadable PDF version of Sri Gaudiya Giti Gucha for your forever perusal. So
What? Say that again.
Forever perusal. Okay. So who will take the place of Jiva Pavana Prabhu for now?
Yash.
There you go. You've been volunteered.
Dandavat Pranam.
Sudevi Duracell?
What?
That's funny. Well, and they call me the Energizer. Anjali writes, forever perusal. It's a thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's my new thing.
So Dandavat Pranam all Vaishnavas. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttappadakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Pam Shirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padavjataika Hriddi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasara Narayanam Pam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Preshthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshavo Itti Namine Patimartya Charitraya Swashritanam Chapahine Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinaparine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dhvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodayo Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhoma Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatang Surato Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohana Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasto Shri Shri Radha Shri Govinda Devo Preshtalihi Sevyamanu Smarami Shri Mandra Sarasaramhi Vangshiva Tattatastitaha Arsham Venu Smanayar Gopir Gopinath Shrestuna Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shwadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nama Harer Nama Harer Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas. So now we will call to Sri Gurudeva for his mercy. Gurudev Boro Kripa Kori, Goro Vanomaje Godrume Diyasho Sthan. Page 33 by Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Devi, what's that tune you do for Baro Kripa Kori?
For what?
Baro Kripa Kori. Okay, thank you. Gurudev Boro Kripa Kori Goravono Maji Godrume Diyacho Sthano Gurudev Boro Kripa Kori Goravono Maji Godrume Diyacho Sthano आज्ञा दिला मोरे ए ब्रजे बसी हरि नाम करो गारो आज्ञा दिला मोरे ए ब्रजे बसी हरि नाम करो गारो बरो कृपा करि बरो बरो माझे गोद्रुमे दियाछो स्थान गुरुदेव बरो कृपा करि बरा बनो माझे गोद्रुमे दियाछो स्थान किन्तु कवे प्रभु যোগ্যতায়র তীরে এ দাসের দয়া করি কিন্তু কবে প্রভু যোগ্যতায়র তীরে এ দাসের দয়া করি চিত্ত স্থির হবে সকল সহিব চিত্ত স্থির হবে সকল সহিব একান্তে ভজিব হরি একান্তে ভজিব হরি ও শৈশব যৌবনে জর সুখ সঙ্গে অভ্যাস হইল মন্দ শৈশব যৌবনে জর সুখ সঙ্গে অভ্যাস হইল মন্দ নিজ কর্ম দোষে এ দেহ হইল নিজ কর্ম দোষে এ দেহ হইল ভজনের প্রতিবন্ধ ভজনের প্রতিবন্ধ Sadanand Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki Jai. Does that fix it? Yep. Okay. Now we will call for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. A Baro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Goshai by Sri Narottam Das Thakur, page 44. E Baro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Goshai, E Baro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Goshai, Patita Pavano Tuwa Dine Ke Bona. Now we will call for the mercy of Sri Rupa Goswami Pad. Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan Sri Rupa Kripa Mile Jugalacharan. Page 51 by Srilan Anurtam Das Thakur. 51. Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Shri Sanatana Goswami Pad ki jai. Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan Shri Rupa Kripa Mile Jugalacharan Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan Shri Rupa Kripa Mile Jugalacharan Mahaprabhu Sanatano Gora Parivaro Mahaprabhu Sanatano Gora Parivaro Sabe Miri Vancha Puro Amaro Sabe Miri Vancha Puro Amaro Shri Rupero Kripajeno Ama Prati Ho Shri Rupero Kripajeno Ama Prati Ho Sepado Ashrayo Ja Sepado Ashrayo Ja Se Mahashoyo Prabhu Lokanato Kavi Sange Loyan Jabe Prabhu Lokanato Kavi Sange Loyan Jabe Bhagat Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Dandavat Pranama Vaishnava. Isha Thakurani writes, and now. So Isha Thakurani, and now what would you like to request? She is requesting ulus. We will call for the mercy of Patik Pavan Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Which bhajan, Isha, are you requesting for Nityananda Prabhu? She's dancing, but she hasn't put the bhajan that she wants to hear. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakata Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakata Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. It was off. Hare Krishna?
It says gone, but you're there. It's still the same.
It was gone for a second.
So what do we do?
It froze. That's okay. It's back on, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone, we're back. Okay, so we're gonna start this again. Anand, what did she write?
Who?
Isha Thakurani. I asked her. So you haven't given any choice, so we will choose for you. Ananda Kanda Nitai Chanda. Page 62. Patik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Ananda Kanda Nitai Chanda, page 62 by Radha Balavadas. Nitai, Nitai, Nitai Bhaju. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda He Paolo Jagato Kevalo Vanchito Paolo Jagato Kevalo Vanchito E Radha Vallabha Dasare E Radha Vallabha Dasare E Radha Vallabha Dasare Nitai Chando Karuna Karuna Chando Ananda Kanda Nitai Chando Karuna Saghane Juro Karuna Pura Saghane Juro Hari 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 Bo Hare Hari 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 Bo Hare Hari 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 Bo Hare Hari 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 Jaya Nityananda Jaya Nityananda Nityananda Jaya Nityananda Jaya Nityananda Nityananda Jaya Nityananda पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम शचिनंदन गौर हरि की I believe we had a request, which we've actually had since before I got sick, for Manade Kahana Gaura Katha. page 72 by Sri Narahari Sarkar. Kahana Gaura Katha Man re Kahana Gaura Katha Man re Jao Koji Boro Goriya Jao Koji Boro Kichuna Chahi Goya Kichuna Chahi Goya Taro daser das Charane Sharono Charane Jaya Sachinanda Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinanda Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachinanda Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinanda Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन गौर हरि की And now we will call for the mercy of Krishna. In the form of Harinam Tuwa Anek Swarupa. Page 180 by Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. 180. 180. Chantua Kanta. Cut off. Page 180. Hari Naam Tuwa Anek Swarupa. Hari Naam Tuwa Anek Swarupa. Hari Naam Tuwa Anek Swarupa. Hari Naam Ananda Oh, something came back on, but there it is. Sorry about that. Yesterday, Facebook had an outage for what, 6-8 hours?
Everyone knows. It was all over the world.
So, we discover how dependent we become on this, what do you call it? Artificial communication source. And the moment it cuts, everyone feels it. Back again. Yeah, the connection quality is very poor today. But I don't know if switching over to the SIM card will do any better. Because yesterday that was also very poor. In and out like a yo-yo. When I hear yo-yo, I think of the Bhagavad Gita verse, yo-yo yum yum tanum bhaktam. Krishna has everything covered. Always think of Krishna and never forget him. Okay, let's... Or yo mam pashyati sarvatra. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Page 362. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Boro varshane vani ki jai jai jai. Boro varshane vani ki jai jai jai. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Boro varshane vani ki jai jai jai. Boro varshane Kane Lal Ki. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now we've come to the culmination of all of our prayers until now. That is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Brihan Naradiya Purana, it is told, Hare Naam, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Gatir Anyata. That in this age of Kali, this age of quarrel, hypocrisy, we all know what it's like. There is no other way to attain perfection, which is praying, perfection for the Atma, other than taking shelter of and chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Naam, Hare Naam, Hare Naam. 3 times it is told there is no other way. 3 times it is told Hare Naam, Hare Naam, Hare Naam. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained that Hare Naam doesn't only mean Krishna's names, because within Krishna's names, as we already just chanted, Harinam Tuwa Anek Swarupa, there are unlimited forms, qualities and pastimes. So it means Krishna's names, forms, qualities and pastimes. This is the implication. So also, glorifying Krishna through the medium of Harikatha is also Harinam. Glorifying Krishna's forms, glorifying Krishna's qualities, glorifying Krishna's pastimes, glorifying Krishna's names. So by this process, this is the way to attain perfection, and there is no other way, no other way, no other way. Our acharyas have said, just in case we're a little bit dense, or a lot dense, 3 times it is told, just to bring the point home, just to make sure that we get it, that we understand. There is really no other way to attain perfection other than taking shelter of the holy names of Krishna. And in the Kali Santanan Upanishad, there it is told, after so many mantras are revealed in all scriptures, there it is told, there is one mantra known as the Mahamantra, or the great mantra, the greatest chant of deliverance. Really, it's not the chant of deliverance, it is the chant of praying. It is Yugal Naam, Prem Naam. So, but this Mahamantra, it is mentioned Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sometime about 100 years ago, or maybe even more recently, the Gita Press reversed the Mahamantra, which historically was first with Hare Krishna and then Hare Ram, but they somehow figured, well, Ram came first and then Krishna came afterwards, so let's just flip it. So a lot of people in India chant Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then Hare Krishna. And that's where the term Hare Ram, Hare Krishna comes from. Just so you know. So our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he did research, went into the old libraries and found all of the Kali Santaran Upanishad references pre-Gita Press change, and there found Hare Krishna and then Hare Ram. Now there is actually no problem with that technically because there's no difference, but still it is a mantra which is written in scripture, so we don't like to change that mantra. Beside the fact that if someone is a Ram Bhakta, Krishna and Ram in Hare Krishna and Hare Ram will apply to Ram, and if someone is a Krishna Bhakta, then Krishna and Ram will apply to Krishna. Hare meaning the energy or the Shakti. So Radha Krishna for Krishna Bhaktas, Radha Krishna Bhaktas, and Sitaram for Sitaram Bhaktas. But also to change the holy name, or to change the Mahamantra, because one thinks Ram came first and then Krishna came first, this is also an ignorant proposal. Because did Ram really come first? Anyone who knows anything about the Vedas and Shastra knows that all of it is cyclical. So who appeared first? Ram appears in Treta Yuga and Krishna appears in Dwapara Yuga. But Ram did not even appear in this recent Treta Yuga. He appeared in the different Manvantar, a different Manu. Manu he appeared in, but it wasn't just this recent Treta Yuga. And Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma. Once in a day of Brahma. So Brahma lives for 100 of his years. And Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma. I don't know how often Ram appears. I can't remember the details of this. But also he is a Leela avatar. Keshava Dritta Rama Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So to Hare Krishna. So I'm running on the SIM card now, because apparently the Wi-Fi is not dependable. So hopefully the recording, it'll be cutting off and fuzzy as we are witnessing. Let me just check here. I also need to put this one on the Wi-Fi. 1 second, so I can keep in track of what everything is going on. There we are. Oh, Hare Krishna. Are we there? Are we there? So apparently we're having a problem again this evening with Facebook. I don't know what they're doing. Well, I can't seem to connect here. Let me see again if I can. Oh, there we are. All right. So, there's no point in speaking. We're just going to be chanting for a while until maybe it stabilizes, and it may be cutting off and coming back on, but I'll just keep chanting. I don't know what to do. I think it may be a problem with Facebook again. So I don't know what's going on with it, but yesterday it had a big problem and today it's having its issue again. So we figured even if it completely cut, the seva will continue one way or another. So I was just telling, hopefully it would be really quick and then I can come to the Kirtan part. Krishna, he is the source of everything. Advaitam, Achutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam, Puranam, Purusham, Navayoganam cha, Vedeshu Durlabham, Adurlabham, Atma Bhakto, Govindam, Adi Purusham, Tamaham Bhajami. He is the source of everything, including all other incarnations. And in terms of rasa vichar, or the conceptions of rasa, because he contains or is manifesting all rasas in fullness, he is known or compared to the full moon, Krishna Chandra. And all other manifestations are compared to partial phases of the moon. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra contains within it all of these swarups, all of the pastimes, all of the names, all of the qualities of the Lord in all of the different avatars. Everything is contained within Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And by the power of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that knowledge of who I am in relationship with Krishna can also be awakened in love and affection. So when we are calling out to Hare and Krishna, Hare and Rama, that is Radha Krishna, Radha Raman, and we are also calling out in a mood of prayer, not for any mundane or material thing. Krishna is not our servant, our order supplier. We are his eternal servant. So Srila Krishna Ras Kaviraj Goswami has told that we should repeat this prayer. My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years within this material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your loving service. My dear Lord, from today, from this day, I am yours. Calling out to Radha and Krishna, please engage me in your loving service. Make me yours. Make me yours. Make me yours. And also praying for the benefit of all jivas, calling out very loudly so that the vibration will also penetrate Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, I mean, the internet continued. Just keep going, ting, 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 through the whole class. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Shri Gurudeva ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Rupananu Gauri Guru Varga ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Gaura Premanande.
Hari 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 Bo.
Hari Bol. Sonam is asking a pretty loaded question.
Loaded with
If I happen to come to Vrindavan, can I come have darshans of Thakurji and my Gaura with a heart self-proclaimed?
That is not a loaded question, and the answer is yes, you can come anytime.
Yeah, but you can't take him.
He's too heavy anyway. Thakurji are so heavy. If you even lift them, you would be so shocked.
When we first got them, Sudevi's like, I will bear their weight.
Yeah, because we lived in Fiji in a huge, house, and they were so tiny compared. And then Gurudeva was like, okay, now I've given you Thakurji, leave this place and travel the world.
So all 35, how many? 17 kilos.
17 kilos.
Plus their own luggage, which has drastically increased in the last 2 years by all of your grace. So, yeah, they had their own suitcase, big suitcase, plus themselves,
Paraphernalia.
And their paraphernalia. So it's difficult for them to travel. Well, it's difficult for
us to
travel. So they decided to lock us down with them here in Vrindavan for these last 2 years. Not exactly 700 yet, but it's crawling up there.
What?
How many outfits?
Oh gosh, no, not even 100, not even 70.
Probably less than 70.
Much less, much less. I think they have maybe 45 or something like that.
Don't worry, Sudevi's working on it. She's got 700 as the goal.
Well, tomorrow is an offering by Janardhan Prabhu. He is offering them a white and purple outfit. Ooh. He actually first chose teal, but there's no teal in Vrindavan.
Excuse me?
But yes, Sonam, and yes, anyone who wants to come and have their darshan, they are always loving to be loved.
Yeah, we just didn't want to allow anyone to come while we were sick because we caught it very easily and we didn't want anyone else to catch it very easily. Yeah. But now we think that we are not.
It's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, we're not in the contagious phase, but it is one of the worst.
I'm still waking up in the middle of the night choking.
It is one of the worst flus we've had.
Yeah.
So after COVID, it's.
We don't know what this was, but anyway, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Shri Gurudeva ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Rupananu Guru Varga ki Jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah, Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate giring yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam bhaktya vihinna aparada lakshay shiktashtat kama taranga madhye kripamayi tvang sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanara vindam. I chanted that because Sudevi was holding a book up to me showing Tulsi Devi. And that is the one praying to Tulsi Devi to please help remove us or remove our aparads. So, first of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Srila Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtotar Shatashi Sriman Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, we offer our Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe 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 Sham.
Do you want to lead the... So before entering into Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, we will first chant the first two verses of Sri Shikshashtakam by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Please repeat. Chalo.
Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam.
Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam.
Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam.
Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam.
Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamritashvadanam.
Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam.
Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Chalo. Naam Naam.
Naam Naam.
Akari.
Akari.
Bahuda.
Bahuda.
Nija Sarva Shaktis.
Nija Sarva Shaktis.
Tatrarpita.
Tatrarpita.
Niyamita.
Niyamita.
Smaranena Kala.
Smaranena Kala.
Etadrishi.
Etadrishi.
Tava Kripa.
Tava Kripa.
Bhagavan Mamapi.
Bhagavan Mamapi.
Durdaivam.
Durdaivam.
Idrisham.
Idrisham.
Ihajani.
Ihajani.
Nanuragaho.
Nanuragaha.
Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Shikshashtakam ki
Jai.
jai. Now we will chant the first verse of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur, glorifying Nitai and Gauranga. Sudevi.
Go ahead.
Ajanulambita bhujo.
Ajanulambita bhujo.
Kanakavadato.
Kanakavadato.
Sankirtanai kapitaro.
Sankirtanai kapitaro.
Kamalaya taksho.
Kamalaya taksho.
Vishvambaro dvijavaro.
Vishvambaro dvijavaro.
Yugadharma palo.
Yugadharma palo.
Vande jagat priyakaro.
Vande jagat priyakaro.
Karunavataro.
Karunavataro.
Patipavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai.
Dweep, 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 dweep.
Yep, Prabhu just got tweet with an ulu. Okay, so October Prabhu said one should not take sides, but I do love Sudevi's efficiency.
Oh.
Next we will do Dashmula Tattva. This is one efficient verse. This is everything contained. It's kind of a little
Is
bit...
that the next verse in there?
No.
Oh, that's the next thing you're going to do.
Amnaya Praha
Yeah, but you told
Tattvamariyama.
Madhav Maharaj today that you're going back into Damodar Leela.
No, we're just going to add more and more shlokas
Oh,
over time.
okay.
It's not impossible to get that. We must get it.
What?
One day, for sure and certain. Amnaya Praha Tatvam Harimiha. I remember we were in the car driving from Vilnius, Lithuania, all the way to, gosh, I don't even remember how to pronounce the name of it, Krakow, Poland. And it was 18 or 20 hour drive, and the entire time practically we were just going through this to remember Amnaya Praha Tatvamarimiha. I can't remember, it was myself, Krishna Kripa. Any-
No, Krishna Kripa, and that was it. Or Suvi was there?
Okay, so before entering into Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, we will pray in the dust of the lotus feet of the author, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, and also in the lotus feet of the commentator, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai. So yesterday we finished text 69 and the purport. That's chapter 2, page 173 of this version here of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat with the commentary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And the verse that we discussed yesterday was talking about those persons who were studying the scriptures but had no spiritual inclination. Then they were only using the scriptures for their own self-aggrandizement, for their own kanaka, kamani, and pratishta. And because of this, because of not chanting the holy names of the Lord, and because of not engaging in yuga dharma, what naturally happens is that one increases their material desires. And by this, instead of always remembering Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, it is natural and bound to happen that one will remember the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of the conditioned souls. And because the nature of conditioned souls is that they have the tendency to come under illusion, they have the tendency to make mistakes, they have imperfect senses, and they have the tendency to cheat others, and sometimes they manifest good qualities, then there is a tendency to find fault in others. That's what gossip usually is. Talking about someone else. People aren't interested to hear all the good stuff most of the time. But when there's something about somebody that's a little bit, then everyone wants to know what happened, what's the details? Oh, who did this, who said what happened? So that's the nature of the Gramya Katha of this world, and the recipe to remove that tendency toward Gramya Katha is by filling that space with Krishna Katha. So for example, in that drive from Vilnius, Lithuania, all the way to Krakow, Poland, which is a long drive, we could be listening to the radio or listening to all sorts of mundane music or discussing all kinds of mundane things, but instead we are using that time for remembering Sri Dashamul Tattva. And so we can utilize our energy by choice to remember the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna, or those things related to Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. Or we can choose to utilize our time in other endeavors. If we vibrate mundane sound, our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj has said, quoted by Achyutananda Prabhu, if we vibrate mundane sound, we will get material results. And if we vibrate Vaikuntha sounds, then we will get Vaikuntha or transcendental results. So this is very, very important for all of us to remember, because there are so many entrapments in this material world which will make us or bring us to vibrating mundane sound vibrations. And that is usually because of the association that we keep. You can detect the association that you have. If that association is causing you to think about material things, to remember material things, to vibrate material sound vibrations, then this will bring one's mind into the material world, and one's inclination towards serving Krishna will be reduced. And if we associate with those who are always remembering the glories of Guru Gauranga, Radha, Krishna, their words, their teachings, Hari, Guru, Vaishnava, what is it? Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, I'm trying to remember that verse in Hari Haraye Nama Krishna, Yadavaya Nama, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all of the works of our Goswamis, Bhagavad Gita, and all of these subject matters, if we absorb our mind in these things, then that is where our remembrance, that is where our hearts will go. And that will come by association with those who are always absorbed in those topics. And so if we're always remembering subject matters of Krishna, then of course we understand that, Hare Krishna. Of course we understand that then our mind, our heart, and then eventually our soul will go toward Krishna. And if we're not remembering Krishna, then absolutely we will go toward all material things. And entrapments are very, very easy for us to fall into. And the history is given of Bharat Maharaj. He was doing bhajan, Vaidhi Bhakti, but he had attained the stage of Rati in Vaidhi Sadhana, Vaikuntha, or Aishwarya Gyan. So this is knowledge of the opulence of the Absolute, but still he had attained some Rati for Bhagavat. So technically one cannot fall from that position, but to teach an example to all of us, to be very, very careful that even a person at a very high level of progression on the path of bhakti, if they are not very careful, can easily be misled or can fall from their conviction on the path of bhakti. So Bharat Maharaj was residing in the forest. He was chanting and remembering and doing sadhana bhajan to attain his perfected state in relationship with his beloved Lord. It so happened that one day he witnessed something. There was a tiger chasing a deer. That deer happened to be pregnant. As she was running from the tiger in fear, she jumped over the river, and at that time, she gave birth, and she ended up losing her life. So that baby deer had no mother, had no one to look after him, and Bharat Maharaj that time took care of that baby deer. He was nurturing it, but trying to do his bhajan. But naturally, this cute little baby thing was taking his heart. So his attachment began to form to this baby deer. And as he was chanting and trying to remember, this baby deer was playing around him, nudging him, trying to get his attention. Now we don't need deers or any other thing. We've got Facebook, if it still works, and all kinds of other notifications that go ding to distract our attention at every moment. So Bharat was doing his bhajan, sadhan bhajan, remembering, but this deer kept distracting him, and then he would play with the deer. He began to embrace that deer, kiss the deer, and really he developed so much attachment for his deer. It was his dearest companion. And so one day his deer disappeared playing with other deers, and Bharat became very, very concerned. Where is my deer? Deer. He has not returned. So he went searching for him, thinking about his deer, and it became dark and he couldn't see his way, but he was calling out for his deer, and at that time he fell to his own death, completely absorbed in and attached to this deer. Needless to say, as Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti konteya sadatad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of consciousness, whatever state of absorption or obsession one is in, when they leave their body, they will attain to that state for certain. So he wasn't thinking of Krishna, he wasn't remembering Krishna, he was absorbed in his attachment to and obsessing on this deer, and therefore in his next life he was in the body of a deer. This is how easy it is for any of us to lose this valuable human form of life. Only from the human form of life can one actually endeavor for perfection. So if we're not careful, if we're not vigilant, if we're not focused, if we're not holding on and associating with the pure Vaishnavas, then the mind will become the devil's workshop. This is an English saying, I'm sure you have it in every single language of the world. The idle mind becomes the devil's workshop. It means the mind which is not occupied properly, all sorts of nonsense thoughts and ideas start to crowd that space. So Maharaj Ambarish, he always used his mind in remembering and serving the lotus feet of Krishna. Sabai mana Krishna padaravindayor. How do we engage our mind? We must engage our ears and our mouths and our eyes and all of our senses in subject matters relating to bhakti, in relation with Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, and by that our mind will also be engaged in that way. Otherwise, our mind will go to every other thing. What was considered to be his fault? Bharat Maharaj's fault. To save the baby deer, or to raise it, or to become too attached to it. His fault was that he did not have full faith in Krishna. Shraddha. His Shraddha was weak. Because according to the definition of Shraddha, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That Krishna will take care of everything. There's nothing to do, nothing to worry about. But he saw that deer and he thought he's responsible. And then he was nurturing it, and naturally, by the dati, he was giving. He was feeding. He was nurturing. So he developed attachment to that. There are 6 symptoms of affection, or what builds affection. So he was engaging in these activities with this deer, and therefore he developed this attachment. So ultimately, it was the attachment to the deer. How does one avoid becoming attached to other person's bodies of this material world? Why am I saying that? Because we're not attached to their souls. If we were attached to their soul, then we would encourage them to do bhajan completely. But we're attached to their bodies for our own pleasure, for our own sense of comfort or safety, or for our own attachments. So attached to the bodies of other humans, including our own family members, our parents, our husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, children, and also our animals. We're attached to all of them. We're attached to bodies, and that is binding in this material world. Our acharyas have instructed us that we should try to do our duty, but without attachment. This is quite a difficult thing to do. Eventually, we will have to also give up that attachment and surrender exclusively to Krishna. This will be under the guidance of Sri Guru or any pure Vaishnava when the time is right, not just by our own mental jump, so to speak. So yes, Bharat Maharaj, you can say that the fault, it has a root. There's a root to the fault. The attachment came as a result of something else. While contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment for them. Then from such attachment comes lust, then anger, delusion, bewilderment of memory, and then all intelligence is lost. So there's something that is the root of that, and that root of that is thinking that I am the doer, I am the controller. This false ego, or Swarupa Brahma, is the root of that attachment and also that feeling of controllership. So there's another history or story that our Guru Varga would tell, which is kind of the opposite of this Bharat Maharaj story. There was one sadhu who was sitting near the Ganga, completely engaged in his sadhan bhajan, always remembering the holy names of the Lord. At a certain point, there was someone who went into the Ganga and an alligator or crocodile was attacking them. And somebody ran by, saw him sitting there, looked at him like he was crazy, ran and helped to save that person and came out. And then he went to the sadhu and he said to the sadhu, "Why didn't you do anything? You saw everything, but you didn't do anything." The sadhu said, "Krishna would take care of everything. He sent you immediately." This is Shraddha. Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That just by engaging in Krishna Bhakti, automatically everything is taken care of. There's nothing to worry about, nothing to do. Everything will be taken care of properly. So this is another conception. It is very easy to fall into that entrapment. So why did I speak about this? Because Srila Prabhupada would say that we must be very vigilant, very careful. If you're being shaved with a straight razor, it's very, very sharp. They sharpen those things. One moment of distraction, I think, on the part of either the person being shaved or the person doing the shaving, and immediately there's a cut and blood will come. So it is said that spiritual life is like a razor's edge. Spiritual life is like a razor's edge. In other words, we must be very, very careful, aware, and vigilant. And that careful awareness and vigilance comes in the association of Vaishnavas, who are careful, aware, and vigilant. Otherwise, we might not even recognize when it is coming. Like Bharat Maharaj was by himself, doing Nirjan Bhajan. If he was there with any other sadhu, they might have said, whoa, 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 wait a second. Be careful. You're becoming attached to this deer and it won't be good for you. If you're remembering and being attached to this deer at the time of death, then you will become a deer in your next life. So better to give up that attachment now. But there was no one to help him in that time period when he was developing that attachment. So Srila Gurudev told, I might have told it the other day, I can't recall, about one devotee who had been with Gurudev and Vaishnavas and wanted to do sadhan bhajan, but ended up going to Jaipur and being in the association of the temple there in Jaipur, Govindaji temple, taking so much Mahaprasad that he became quite big. So he contacted Gurudev and told Gurudev, oh, I want to be married, I want this, I want that. And Gurudev said, I want to give you some help, some medicine, will you accept? And so he said, yeah, sure. So Gurudev told him, first you must fast for a couple of weeks, completely. And then after that, for another week, you must fast, but you can only take water. And so after that time, he became very lean and thin. And then as Gurudev said to him, so now, do you want to be married? He said, no. He said, do you want to go back to Govindaji and eat so much very, very opulent Mahaprasad? He said, no, Gurudev, I want to stay with you. So Gurudev gave him the medicine. This is the power and potency of being under the guidance of sadhus and Vaishnavas. By the sword of their transcendental knowledge, by their harikatha, even by their harsh words, they cut at our sensuous desires and our attachments. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he says, this is the only duty of the sadhu. To cut the heads of the sacrificial goats. This is our anarthas. To cut that in the form of harsh language. In other words, they can detect what is stopping us from progressing and they will cut those attachments. But if we're trying to do Nirjan Bhajan, means on our own without anyone seeing us, without anyone being able to critique us or judge us or help us, then very easily we can fall into all sorts of nonsensical ideas, become attached to so many mundane things, and in essence, be dragged away from our true purpose, which is Krishna Bhakti. Yes, we've also heard Krishna Premavati Didi, this history of Gita Sangsar, where Sri Guru, he told his disciple that you should remain and do bhajan, was Nirjan Bhajan, without anyone else, but always reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting the holy names. And be very simple. So this person, he accepted what his Gurudev told him. He was living very simply in the forest, chanting and reading Bhagavad Gita. Then his Guru went on a pilgrimage for some years. In the meantime, something happened. A mouse started eating the pages of his Gita. So his friend came and told him, this one local villager came and told him, oh, what you need is a cat, he will take care of your mouse. So this friend gave him a cat, and the cat took care of the mouse, but the cat was becoming very lean and thin, and this Sadhu Baba says to his village friend, what do I do? This cat's becoming very lean and thin. He said, oh, you have to give him milk. He said, where am I going to get milk? They said, you need a cow. So this village friend gave him a cow. Every day he's milking this cow, taking some himself and giving it to this cat. The cat became very healthy and very lazy, as they can be. But he wasn't able to focus on his bhajan anymore because he had to take care of the cow, lead him into fresh green pastures, and there was so much work to do. And now we're going to go a blast in the past. he complained to his village friend that I am having so much difficulty, I can't really do my sadhan bhajan because I have to take care of the cow, milk the cow, feed the cat, and, take care of all of this stuff. It's just too much for me. What do I do? And he said, well, you need someone to look after the cow and milk the cow and take care of everything. He said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you should get married. And she will help to take care of all of your things. So he said, okay, but where do I find a wife? The man said, I have so many daughters. I like you. You can marry one of my daughters. So he arranged their marriage. And sure enough, with the wife, then they needed a griha, a house. They had so many children, 10 or more. And after all of this time, the Gurudev came back and he looked at his disciple with his big house and his wife and his 10 children and more cows and cats and I don't know if they had any more rats. But he was no longer able to chant, no longer able to read a Bhagavad Gita, completely absorbed in the material world. And his Gurudev said, what are you doing? I have not instructed you to do this. I have not instructed you to do this. You should give all of that up immediately and come with me. And so Srila Gurudev wanted that whenever this drama was performed, that this person would follow his Gurudev, follow the instructions exactly, and leave everything and go with his Gurudev. So with this, you can call it this drama or this Gita Sangsar pastime, we can understand how easy it is to become derailed and then how involving that derailment can become. It will amplify, it will multiply, it will increase, and then one will be completely bereft of the opportunity to actually engage in real sadhan, bhajan, or bhakti. Yes, that story is called Gita Sangsar. Once upon a time, they tried to change the ending because the devotees were a bit sensitive. And so they made his wife into a really nice devotee, all of the children into really nice devotees, and they all lived happily ever after. And Gurudev was there watching the drama. He said, what? What's going on? He said, oh, they're all nice devotees. They're all living together in a nice devotee home, living happily ever after. Gurudev called the husband of the drama forward. He told him in his ear, get back out there now. The drama was finished. It was like, okay, they all did their, the bow after the curtains and everything. Gurudev said, get back out there and lead them now. And then in the drama, everyone was crying and he was like, gotta go with my guru, the order of guru. And a lot of people became really upset at this, but Gurudev was laughing and laughing. We're attached to this material world, but Gurudev is not attached to this material world. Gurudev is attached to Krishna, and Gurudev's mood and endeavor is to somehow separate us from our attachments and bring us to become attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is, you can say, cold, hard spiritual truth. And it's something that we have to come to understand and realize one day, that we have been binding ourselves for trillions and trillions and quadrillions of lifetimes with the same attachments again and again, chewing on that thing that we have already chewed on before. Punak punash charavita charavananam, Prahlad Maharaj states. So we've already done it a million, billion, trillion times before since our sojourn in the material world began, which is said to be anadi. There is no beginning to it. We cannot find the beginning. Just like, who are your first ancestors? Try to go back, as far back as you can possibly go. As far as you can go, there's got to be more and more and more and more forever. So we don't know when it has begun. Anadi. Anadi karma phale tori bhavan na bajale. Tori bare na dekhi upay. Since time without beginning, I have been drowning in this ocean of material existence, and I see no end to it. So Gurudev comes, that is the form, the condensed form of the mercy of Krishna, and tells us the truth. And that truth, sometimes they have to be a little bit gentle about it, but eventually we will have to accept that truth if we want to become free from the bindings of the material world and become firmly attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. We will have to accept it one day. For certain, we will have to. So, we don't like to hear it, but for those of us who have come into this path of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, in the line of Srimad Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami and our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, we will have to listen to it. Gradually, by their mercy, we will become detached from all material things, material bodies, material attachments, and our minds and hearts should become 100% absorbed and attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Man manasa madhukaram arpaya nijapada pankaja makarande, Sri Rupa Goswami says. So what is the result of never glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes? If one is not engaging their mind, their senses, or anything for that purpose, they are bound to do the other, meaning to absorb it in Maya. Srila Prabhupada said, if one is not Krishnamoy, absorbed in Krishna, then one will be bound to become Mayamoy, absorbed and bound in Maya. So, in this purport here, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was referring to how the nature of the conditioned soul who is not absorbing their mind in Krishna is to absorb their mind in thinking about the good and bad activities of other conditioned souls. And so therefore, they only found faults with others. They never glorified anyone, really. And Shastra says that one should not glorify or find faults. Srimad Bhagavatam says, in 11th canto, one should neither praise nor criticize the conditioned nature and activities of other persons. Rather, one should see this world as simply the combination of material nature and the enjoying souls. So the souls who are trying to be the enjoyer of this world, all based on the one absolute truth. Whoever indulges in praising or criticizing the qualities and behaviors of others will quickly become deviated from his own best interest by his entanglement in illusory dualities. So it is said that we should not even glorify other conditioned souls, only transcendental personalities. Sri Guru, the pure Vaishnavas. If we glorify persons who are not transcendental or pure, it can very easily go to their head. Oh, they liked it. Did you hear that? Wow. I must be quite amazing. I have this capacity to represent Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Oh, right? Oh, what a beautiful Kirtan, Prabhu. Oh, I love it. Oh, I go to bed every night listening to it. Then you start thinking, oh, so nice, right? If you glorify persons who are bound in this material world, this will go to their head and pratishta will manifest. So it doesn't do a conditioned soul any good to be glorified. Sometimes, to encourage us, Sri Guru will give some glorification, but this is also balanced properly. Guru has the capacity to see everything from all perspectives, but we cannot see it. So we may glorify others not knowing the other aspects of them. So pure devotees, they have no attachment or attraction to the material world whatsoever. If we glorify them, then this is good for us. This will remove all avidya, all anarthas and ignorance and misgivings, and in its place will bring all auspiciousness. But glorifying or criticizing the temporary material nature of conditioned souls, this will actually be binding in this material world and will remove us from our own best interest. When the living entities engage in hearing and chanting about the absolute truth, that is, Krishna of Vrindavan, they find relief from the quarrelsome nature of Kali Yuga and thus remain fixed in the path of hearing from authorities. Then they no longer discuss topics not related with Krishna. So this is important. Hearing from authorities about Krishna. repeating what we've heard from authorities about Krishna, then our minds will be fixed and we will no longer discuss other topics, only topics to do with Krishna. Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Diner Smara. So now we have come to text 70. Yeba sabab viraktak tapasvi abhimani tasavara mukheha nahika haridvani. All of the so-called renunciants and ascetics never chanted the names of Hari. If someone is renounced, and someone is a great ascetic, doing intense austerities but not chanting the names of Hari, then what is its purpose really? What is its purpose really? Today, I reposted something on Facebook that I had posted 7 years ago. It popped up, said this was your post from 7 years ago. I read it and it was quite inspirational from Srila Gurudev. The devotee asked, what about people that claim that they've had darshan of Radha and Krishna? It is so common here that it is almost taboo to even say or doubt whether someone has. Everyone's like, yes, I had darshan of Krishna. It's just like everyone says it. They claim it. Srila Gurudev said that if you have really had darshan, you would have no attraction to anything of this material world any longer. You would not engage in any mundane activity. You would have prem and you would not even be able to maintain your material body. Beside the fact that anyone who's claiming such a thing, this is only for pratishta. They're telling some kind of false thing. It's a phantasmagoria, some kind of creation of the mind. Rupa Goswami never said, I have seen, I have seen. Our Srila Prabhupada said, our Goswamis never said, I have seen. Rather, they're always weeping and crying. Hey Radhe, Vrajadevike Chalalite, Hey Nanda Shunokuta, Shri Govardhana Kalpapada Patale Kalinyavanye Kuta. Always crying and searching, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? So someone is claiming, I have seen. This is some kind of illusion. Somebody who's claiming it like that, then we should call it utsahamai. It's some kind of false enthusiasm. And Srila Gurudev said that it's some pretense for pratishta, for name and fame and position. Back in the day, I've told it previously, we were in Germany on a morning walk with Srila Gurudev, and someone told Gurudev that someone else claimed that they had darshan of the navel, the belly button of Srimati Radhika. And Gurudev said, what? And they said they had darshan of Radhika's belly, her navel, her belly button. Gurudev busted up laughing. He was bouncing and his beard was shaking, was laughing so hard. And then he just stopped in the middle of laughing and he just said, bogus. And he said, anyone having just once seen this, having darshan of this, they will never have any attachment or attraction to anything of this material world, ever again.
Gurudev said, this morning we were
Close
listening, Gurudev said that someone who is actually seeing will never say, oh, come on, I have seen. He said they will never say like that.
Also this morning.
That's what I said today. And Srila Prabhupada also, I think it was a Radhastami lecture, and he said, someone who is actually seeing, they will never say that. They will say, Hey Radhe Vrajadevike Chalalite. They can't live without the next darshan. They'll be crying and weeping for that. Even Narad Muni had one darshan, split second of Narayan. Narayan said that you will never see me again in this body, in your body. And did he just say, okay, well, I should go get married and, maybe do this or that? No, he was always searching and searching. So Gurudev said that this morning. He said they will never say, oh, come on, I have seen.
Wow.
So.
Thank you. So, then what is the meaning of renunciation? What are they renouncing? If they're not chanting the names of the Lord, if they're not remembering the Lord, Their renunciation is like that of Sobari Rishi. We already spoke about him yesterday. Only restraining, repressing all of that stuff, but it's still within. There's nothing to clean it out. Harinam cleans the mirror of the heart and the mind. Cheto darpanamarjanam. But if you don't chant the holy names of the Lord, then how are your anarthas going to be removed? It's not really possible. So that renunciation is some kind of false renunciation, not real. And that asceticism is only for show. So here it says they never chanted the names of Hari. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says, the word virakta is explained as follows. The mixed feelings born from form, taste, smell, sound, and touch create obstacles to the living entity's sense gratification from time to time. One who desires and tries to isolate and free oneself from such feelings is called virakta. The word tapasvi refers to a living entity who tries to gain the strength to deliver himself from the danger of being afflicted by the threefold miseries. Although renunciation and austerity are employed as means of getting relief from the miseries of this world, if they are not engaged in the service of adhokshaja, they fail to produce the desired results. So these are both selfish. The mixed feelings born from our senses create obstacles to the living entity's sense gratification from time to time. So trying to isolate and free oneself from sensory perception or sensory feelings, it is called virakta. And the tapasvi, who's doing tapasya or austerities, the ascetics, they try by their own strength to free themselves from the danger of being afflicted by the miseries of this world. In other words, they're seeking mukti or freedom from duality or freedom from suffering, but there's no inclination toward the nature of their own souls, which is to love and serve Bhagavan. And so because they're not utilizing their energy properly, it's selfishly motivated, then it does not actually produce the proper or desired results. Again, one will have to come back to this material world in samsara. There are many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam and other places which describe this point. Yenyera Vindaksha Vimuktamarinas is the one that comes to mind. That those who are aspiring for that, well, they cannot really attain to that. This is not the internal nature of any soul. So they will have to return due to lack of activity, which is the nature of the soul. The nature of the soul is to be active. It is not just dull matter. Dull matter is the nature of this material world, and the soul activates the dull matter by its own presence. In the same way, like a battery activates this dull matter by its energy. So the soul activates dull matter by its own energy. And through that, it is expressing or experiencing. So here, although renunciation and austerity are employed as means of getting relief of the material miseries, if they're not engaged in the service of the Lord or adhokshaja, they fail to produce the desired results. All kinds of renunciation and austerity are subsidiary eternal assets of devotees who chant the names of the Supreme Lord. So for one who is taking shelter of the holy names of the Supreme Lord, automatically they will develop detachment for material things, and they will end up doing intense kinds of austerity. Our Gurudeva was telling, where was I reading it? Maybe Vichitra Didi's notes recently, that the person who is on the higher levels, they don't even require much sleep, maybe half an hour maximum, because of their intense absorption in serving Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. They have no need or attraction for sleep. Also, those who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami, 7 days and 7 nights, had no need for food, No need for water. No need for going to the toilet. No need for anything but drinking this rasayam. Rasam. Pibita bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Because the holy names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna, they completely satisfy everything. The soul, the mind, the subtle body, the external body, everything. Sarvatma snapanam. Completely. So there's no need for all of these things. So we see that the pure devotees are those persons who are actually the most intense ascetics. Look at Raghunath Das Goswami. How powerful his austerity was. But he wasn't just doing it for austerity's sake. That austerity was coming as a natural side effect of his devotion to the Lord. So these two, austerity and renunciation, are subsidiary, you can say, followers of bhakti. The endeavors of those who give up chanting the holy names and separately engage in renunciation and austerity are all useless. The communities of renunciants and ascetics aim for material enjoyment and are thus deprived of the wealth of devotional service to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna or Sri Hari, aiming at material enjoyment. It's kind of interesting because it seems that they're actually trying to free themselves from the dualities of the results of the suffering that comes from material enjoyment. But what is their purpose? They're renouncing that and doing intense austerities. But it has nothing to do with service to the Lord. It is for selfish purposes. So it is subtle material enjoyment. This is the meaning of jnana in the verse Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma adi anavritam. Also adi. Adi means the process of yoga aimed at impersonal liberation and many other things. But this gyan aimed at impersonal liberation. Where in that impersonal liberation is there any mention of the nature of the soul as a servant of Bhagavan? The intrinsic nature of all souls, Jiver Swarupa hoy, Krishna Nitya Das, is that they are eternal servants of Krishna. Aspiring for that liberation or freedom from material suffering does not have within it the nature of the soul, which is to serve Krishna with love and affection. Therefore, it can be considered the height of material sense enjoyment, in a sense. So here, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is exclusively or emphatically declaring that the communities of those personalities who are seeking this kind of goal, renunciants and ascetics, they're aiming for material enjoyment and they're thus deprived of the wealth of devotional service to the lotus feet of Hari. Such people cannot expect any success from their laborious practices. So it's very intense, hard endeavor, but no good result. Before the advent of Mahaprabhu, the renunciants and ascetics were bereft of devotional service to Hari. It is stated in the Narad Pancharatra, Aradito yadi haris tapasat takim, Naradito yadi haris tapasat takim, Antar bahir yadi haris tapasat takim, Nantar bahir yadi haris tapasat takim. I'm going to learn that verse, it's easy. If one is worshipping Lord Hari, what is the use of severe penances? And if one is not worshipping Lord Hari, what is the use of severe penances? If one can understand that Lord Hari is all-pervading, what is the use of severe penances? And if one cannot understand that Lord Hari is all-pervading, then what is the use of severe penances? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11:28 and 31, Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, being neither very disgusted with nor attached to material life, one should achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion to me. And the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not the means of achieving the highest perfection. within this world. So what does that mean? Being very disgusted with nor attached to material life. Either one you can say is some kind of attachment. Our acharyas have told this story of the two sadhus who are going to cross the river. One lady needed to cross the river as well. So one of the sadhus gave her a lift, carried her on his shoulders across and put her down. The other one, 10 miles down the road, he had been contemplating and thinking, why did he do that? How could he have done this? And he's like, oh my God, how could you have done such a thing? How could you have carried her? You touched the lady, you carried her across the river. He was freaking out. The other sadhu said, I only carried her across the river. You've been carrying her all of this time. So this aversion, this intense aversion, is also considered the other side of the coin of attachment. It's the other side of the same coin. So by that intense aversion to these material things, or by intense attachment to material things, one cannot achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion to Krishna. Naturally, by loving devotion to Krishna, one will have disinterest in all of those other things. No, hate is also deep absorption, isn't it? Fear is deep absorption. Attachment is deep absorption. So anything which causes deep absorption in the mundane is unfavorable for bhakti. So the pure devotees, they are not interested. The example Rupa Goswami gives, it's quite interesting. Really, it's Gopi Bhav. But he gives the example in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of a housewife at home who's in love with her beloved outside. She has no interest with what's going on at home at all. Her mind and heart is gone. 24 hours, when she's brushing her teeth, when she's cooking, when she's doing anything, when she's cleaning, whatever, even when she's taking care of her husband, massaging his feet or whatever, every moment she's thinking of her beloved. So all of this, it's not creating attachment or aversion, there's just no interest whatsoever. The interest is there. And this is really the mood of the gopis. They also have homes, families, duties, so many things they have to take care of, but their minds are always absorbed in Krishna. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Always thinking of Krishna at every moment. Gurudeva would tell, when they're churning yogurt in the morning, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. When they're massaging the feet of their husband, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. When they're going to the well to collect water, Govinda Damodara. Everything, they're always remembering Krishna's names, Krishna's beautiful form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, if they have no time to think of all of these other things, how can they have attachment or aversion to it? They're completely absorbed in Krishna. Everything becomes rendered insignificant. Kabe tuchcha habe. Ar kabe Nitai chander Karuna hoebe sangsara vashanamo kabe tuchcha habe. Oh when Nityananda Prabhu, will you give me your mercy? Oh Gurudev, Guru Nityananda. By your mercy, then my sangsar, my complete absorption and obsession with all material and mundane things will be rendered completely insignificant. Samashrita ye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punya shomurare bhavambudir vatsa padam padam param padam padam yad vipadam natesham. How insignificant! If there's a massive ocean that's on fire, you'll notice it. But if that ocean was condensed to something like a drop of water in the hoofprint of a calf, and you're running through the field, you won't even notice it. You won't even see it. It will be rendered insignificant. So all of these things become insignificant. Even, we just read yesterday, the position of attaining the position of Brahma, Indra, and other demigods is considered no better than that of tiny insects for those who have attained the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Gaura. Liberation becomes completely insignificant. This idea of mukti becomes insignificant for those who have attained bhakti for the Supreme Lord. So this attachment and aversion, at a certain point we might have to have that, but over time we will have to also come to a point where we are so absorbed in Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Tannama rupa charitari sukirtananu. Sukirtananu means diving deep into that kirtan of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, that none of that other stuff, it's all surface stuff, attachment and aversion, will even touch us. Diving deep into that kirtan under the guidance of any eternal associate of the Lord, 24 hours a day, constantly without cessation, living in Vrindavan and remembering the sweet pastimes of Krishna. This is the essence of all advice. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari, Hari Bol. Sri Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Shri Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Padma Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Om. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaura Premanande. So thank you all very much for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. Also, we'd like to express our deepest appreciation and indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to do our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe. Radha Vino Bihariju Shachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Chividiyamudamani. Astamanyana. Kal milenge. Tat morgen. Bis morgen. Nitai hamla. Ikidatoyas. Ate Amaya. Aduma, Peri Betona, Mata Ashita, Dasvidanya, Radhe, Radhe, Sham, hey Mam, hey Lavang. And even though Jiva Pavana Prabhu is not here, Adiosito. Hey Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. See you tomorrow. Radhe, Radhe. Radhe, Sham.